up, guys, and welcome back to Torque Talks. Today I have with me Keenan Carr.
What's up, guys?
So, Keenan, tell us about King of the Floor and, where that's going, because you started it, it's, 2 years in the making now?
Yeah, we started it probably back, we started in 2016. Yeah, so it's about like a year coming on 2 years right now, yeah. So, yeah, it started off, we were watching King of the Road, right? So King of the Road first came out, and it showed on Viceland. And this is one of the first shows that I really first, when we sat down and watched that, every single week it came out, I was like super excited trying to get to watch the next week. And each time we were watching the episodes, everyone in the Trigger House in San Jose, so like Nelson, Zuniga, Mike McGuire, Ben Harold, whenever we were kind of seeing these challenges, we were trying to interpret it into some tricking type of challenges. And so we had a whiteboard, and just every day we're kind of thinking of just like random challenges, and we kind of throw them on the whiteboard. And then some challenges we would kind of erase, and then some challenges we would try and make it harder, or kind of try and switch it a little bit and try and categorize them into like a point system. And then it kind of just went on from there. I sat down in like 3 weeks, created this booklet, and it started off with like, we probably had like 250 challenges that we kind of created all together, and then we kind of slimmed it down into probably around 150 for the first year. So we were really excited about doing that.
That's sick. Yeah. So you just came up with all of these challenges, and you were like, yo, let's make this happen for tricking. So what were your initial plans when it came to, King of the Floor, and like, how did you guys want to do it? Did you just want like people to participate in the challenges, or like, did you like from the beginning see it going somewhere?
Yeah, well, so King of the Road came out probably like 4 months before Loop Kicks camp. And then we kind of created this thing where like, oh, maybe how can we do this? Maybe we'll do it next year. Like, we didn't have a time limit, but then Loop Kicks came up, and then we kind of pitched it to everyone like who was running it and everyone in the house, and everyone was like super stoked that we should do this. And it was like something that we could probably easily pull off because it didn't really take a lot of resources. So we kind of just asked the special guests that were getting flown out to camp. And then we had a couple of the Loop Kicks, kind of the locals, that we kind of put them all together. We had like probably 30 people, and then we tried to trim it down to around 5 teams. We tried to do to like 5 teams of 5. So we had 25 people for the first time. But fortunately, we had everyone who was coming from the tour. So we had like Slava, Laurent, Andre, Ben Kavi, and like a bunch of other people that were coming. So it was pretty easy to kind of see that it would work really well at Loop Kicks camp, and it was just perfect. And we just had recently put the spring floor in the backyard, and we had gym sessions, and then it just kind of rushed together, and everything seemed to smoothly piece together. And when we told the special guests about it, everyone was super about it, and then it was just from there, it was just super easy to run it there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's such a cool idea, and like, it's just a very interesting take on, how to integrate tricking with different things.
Yeah.
So with King of the Floor, tell us a little bit more about like some of these challenges that you guys were coming up with, and like what about watching this Viceland thing as well with King of the Road made you guys want it to be a part of tricking? Like, what, other than the fact that you love tricking, obviously.
Yeah, so when we were watching King of the Road, we noticed that it's really original, and they take certain aspects of like skateboarding, and they really do a good job of making it more like miscellaneous, going out and doing kind of some ratchetry type challenges, but at the same time also the tricking, or the skateboarding tricks part of it is really challenging, and they add this in it, so it's like, it really looks cool. It's like they're not adding tricks that are basic. They're really going for it and doing things that never been done before. So when we looked at it like that, we said we could apply it into the tricking world, where we could make the tricking part of it tricks that we haven't seen before, and tricks that we think are like really top level, and that we think are really cool, and maybe certain tricks that don't go together, and but at the same time also adding tricks that have like are pretty basic or pretty original. So
right, but so it sounds like you're just sort of trying to figure out different ways to push the boundaries of what we're doing within tricking. And sometimes that means pushing the envelope with the tricks themselves, and sometimes that means just pushing the envelope with how we're doing some of the more basic tricks.
For sure. Yeah. And then at the same time, we have the tricking side of it. But at the other side, I wanted to create some challenges that have a lot of history in tricking, and things that we grew up watching on YouTube, and that we can kind of relate to just by getting inspired when we all first started tricking. So I kind of took that, and we could kind of create our own form of it, and maybe see a newer version, and they can kind of create a different version of it. Like, for example, when Rudy and John Vanek did the double full underneath the double back, we wanted to try and make it where we tried it for the first year, where we would do B-twist over someone doing a punch front flip, and then it turned out really good, and we kind of wanted to have that kind of the history of it refer back into this. And then like another thing, like just kind of funny stuff, like Alex and Velu that one time at camp where they got some bad haircuts, we kind of tried to bring it back into King of the Floor and just kind of add that back into it, and we had a lot of success doing that. And then like adding other trickers, like things that other people have done, like Bailey tricking on rooftops. We kind of added that into it, and saying that you had to do a combo on a rooftop, and then at the same time doing like a full team challenge, like hosting a full team battle at a fast food restaurant with judges and like speakers and prizes, and like some of those things turned out really funny. So we really tried to make it just as creative as possible, but at the same time have some history to it and make people kind of relate to it on that level too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I love that you guys are like pulling from all of these like little things from tricking's history over the last couple of years, and just integrating those into the challenges. That makes it so much more fun, and like really pays homage to, you know, the trickers that have come before us.
Yeah,
and
for
really
sure.
Paved the way.
Yeah.
So out of these, which is, you know, like your favorite challenge that you guys came up with?
Yeah, so some of the things that like, because some of the challenges that I had, it's just like things that I've always wanted to do, and things that I've actually done, like just because I like going out and doing funny things out in public and stuff. Like one of the things, like every time I would go into a hotel, I'd always trick in it. So one of the things we added was to do a trick in a mattress store. Another thing would be like, one of my favorite things from Loop Kick, one of the videos that we watched was Pat Chu, or Tal's filmed this. He did a really good job of filming it. But when Pat Chu did, I think it was cork swing dub, or it might have been something swing dub. But right when he landed it, all the sprinklers like shot out, and like it was turned into the craziest thing. And like it was so well filmed, and I was like, dude, this would be so, like, we have to do this challenge again about doing like tricking through sprinklers and stuff. Another challenge is that I thought was really funny that we kind of created. Ryan Ranford, his corks are really fast, and I've always just been a huge fan of his corks. So we actually timed his corks. We timed his 5 corks, and we got it to 4 seconds. So when we added it into the book this year, we said the Ryan Ranford challenge, where you got to do 5 corks under 4 seconds. And Nick Fry did it, and he did it in like 3 seconds, which was like one of the coolest things that I'd seen.
Oh man!
So it was crazy to watch that happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's such a different way that like most people wouldn't think about like pushing the sport of like how fast can you make this happen? You could also do like what's the longest, like the slowest you can do.
Well, it was really hard because this year we did
3 corks.
We said you had to do
10 seconds.
You had to do 4 corks in 6 seconds, which we were like, oh, that could possibly happen, but we found out that no one can do it, and it was like really hard because it's like trying to do like a 1.5 second cork or something. Trying to get that down is just way too hard. So we found out that it was funny to see people try and do that. And another one was we had
some carnival tricks.
Yeah, we had people try and do. We thought it was so funny was side kick swings. So side kick swing double cork and side kick to snapu. And so it was so funny trying to watch people do that. And I think that after everyone like completed all the challenges, everyone said that that was like the hardest trick in the whole book to do. And Malik actually was like the only one to do the sidekick snapu, so that was really awesome to watch that, because I've been trying it for so long. I was like, I had to be able to do this out in the book, and I just couldn't do it for the longest time. So I still haven't done it. So hopefully I'll land it soon. But it was really cool watching him land it. So
yeah, and cool. So what about some of the more like outlandish challenges that didn't really have tricking as their base, that were just sort of sprinkled in for fun? Like I know one of them was somebody had to eat an onion.
Yeah, that was just one of the, so that was just one of the stupid things. Like, well, maybe someone will do it. And when we handed out bags, when we gave out the booklets, we did something different this year. But we gave each team a full goodie bag. So each one was like, they had energy shots, they had a banana, they had jump rope, they had the onion, we gave them Little Caesars cards just in case they got hungry. We gave them a 1-inch board that was all designed by, we had some crazy artwork on it, on each of them. So each one was an original board, and they all turned out really good. I'm missing. Oh, I think I might have forgot the energy shot. We gave them 2 beers.
Just like a little goodie bag.
Just like a little goodie bag. Yeah, and then we didn't tell them anything about it, because each, like, going through the challenges, you needed one of those items to complete one of those challenges. So we just like didn't tell them and made them figure it out. And pretty much most of the people figured it out, but it was just really funny to watch them kind of do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm really excited to see where it continues to go from here. Yeah. You know, and so how long have you been tricking? Let's talk about you now that we've sort of gotten king of the floor out of the way.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I've been tricking for a while. My background is I've been doing martial arts since I was 4. I kind of just grew up just doing martial arts. I was really big into other sports. I played a lot of other sports growing up. I was really big into soccer and baseball growing up. And then I was just kind of focusing on that for a while. I was just doing karate kind of part-time. I was just like any busy kid. He would go to karate, or he would go to soccer after school, then to karate, and then baseball the next day, and then karate the other day, and it was just like constantly like that, which was a lot of fun. I was like really big into sports, and I think that helped me a lot, kind of just in being more athletic, kind of just pushing myself all the time. So that was pretty good. Yeah, I started when I first kind of knew about tricking. We had this guy in our karate school. He was his name is Julio Castro. Maybe some of like the old school trickers would know, but he was like, he first started tricking. He was like one of the first people to start tricking kind of when loop kicks was starting in the Bay Area. And he would come back into karate, and he would just be doing gainers and B-twists, and just like any kid before just watching these kind of tricks, you just sit wide-eyed and just like really want to learn this. And he taught me how to B-twist one day, or no, he taught me how to butterfly kick one day. And that was like one of the most exciting things that I've ever learned. And then after, I was just practicing with that for like months, just thinking that butterfly kick was the coolest trick. And I was just showing all my friends. And then after butterfly came like 540. And
so
then,
how old were you when you like started learning?
So this was probably like, I was probably like 9 years old when I was starting to do 540. I think I was like 9. And then fortunately we had Kim Do come to our school one time, and he taught a seminar. And he taught us, at the time it was called rainbow kick, but it's D-leg. And when he showed me that, I was like, oh, this is like my favorite trick, that like I'm always going to practice this. So at home, I like would put up beanbags in my front yard and just practice D-legs into that all the time, and just constantly just into the beanbags. And then just after that, I found out on YouTube, learned how to cork, and then like it just kind of progressed from there. And just me and my friends would try and trick out each other, and just try and train with each other, and just always pushing each other to land new tricks. And it was cool. And then loop kicks kind of came around in 2007. I heard about it, but I didn't go to that first camp. My first camp was 2008, and then that's kind of just when I was first introduced into tricking, and that's when I kind of first saw Anish Sherfa, Jeremy Marina, Sesh, who else? Marky. I'm missing so many. Missing way too many. But yeah, it was just like going there and just watching all these crazy tricks that I never even imagined were possible, and just like sitting there and just trying to soak up everything. And it was really cool because everyone is so nice there, where they see that like someone is first starting and they're really interested in like trying to give them at least like one little critique on how to improve. And I remember the first time, one of my first camps, Marky, he came up to me and he taught me how to gainer, and he taught me that I was like practicing for a while, and I was practicing my back tucks. And he was like, "Yo, you could totally just do this gainer, just swing off your one foot." And then after that, I landed it after like my third try, and then back then, when like any session, you had those circles, and this was like one of the first times I'd ever seen a circle. And I'm going out there and I'm just going reps, just doing gainers, trying to combo gainers like the whole time. And it just kind of went on from there each year. Just like I would go back, kind of practice new tricks, come back, just wouldn't really trick so much during the year. I would like just kind of train just like randomly, but like nothing too serious.
Yeah, so when did you really start like consistently training, and like, because it sounds like you've been sort of a part of tricking for a long time.
Yeah, but yeah, I've known about it for a really long time.
Really start?
Well, when I really started was when I got my license when I was 15 and a half, and I could drive to session. So Twister's gym, everyone knows the old Twister's gym. That was the first kind of serious tricking gym that had regular open sessions that I would go to. And I was going, when I first started going, I would go to school, I would come home, and then try and finish my homework as fast as I can, and then try and get there. For like probably 4 or 5 days a week, just trying to practice as much as I could, because I had really good teachers when I first started going to Twisters. Kang Vu was there, and Kang Vu was like one of my favorite trickers to just watch. And it was so funny because we still to this day we work together, but we tell each other all the time that I used to come in all the time and I'd be like, "Yo, Kang, we should have a backflip challenge right now." And so we'd just, every single session I'd try to beat him on height on my backflip. And most of the time he would win. Like for the first like couple months he would win, but I think sometimes I would get him, but I think he'd say otherwise. But it was just good. We would always just kind of go back and forth, and I would ask him questions. He'd just be like, "Oh, this is how you do it." And he had a lot of good influence just kind of in the Bay Area and stuff. Yeah, but then I would just try and watch as many YouTube videos as I could, just trying to kind of pick up these small details.
This is in like
and stuff.
2009, 2010
yeah,
sort of era when you really started. Like,
but even in like 2009, 2010, I was still really big into sports. So like my freshman and sophomore year of high school, I played football, so I was busy for probably from like January to December, and that was just kind of I just focused on that. I didn't really want to do tricking at the time, just because I started at a new school. I was just trying to focus on trying to get good grades, and then trying to just play football. I was always pretty good at just like flag football. It was my first time actually playing football, and I was little. I was like 4'11", trying to play in this setup, but I was pretty fast. But I mean that taught me a lot, just kind of pushing through to tricking too. And I'm really glad I tried that, because I made myself feel uncomfortable doing that, but it really taught me a lot of lessons that I could use just like in my tricking and stuff. And I think it made me strong in certain areas and stuff. So like after I kind of stopped playing football my sophomore year, my junior year, I really started tricking. That's like when I got a car. My mom got me like an old Volvo, and I was just driving to session. It was like 5 minutes away. And this was like 2012, 2011 is when I was really started
really, yeah. It. And now you live with all triggers, right?
I did live with them for a little bit, for a couple months, and that was cool. But yeah, I'm living back at home with my parents. I'm moving out to LA moving out to LA in February to try and pursue some things, trying to go back to school. So I'm excited for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And so so you've been tricking for, it sounds like, almost 10, 11 years now.
Yeah. Off and on though, not like serious.
Not entire.
I've taken some breaks.
Time,
I've taken some breaks.
You've seen it.
I've seen it evolve in a lot of different forms.
Yeah. So so let's talk about that. Like, how has it evolved from your perception? Because it sounds like you were really young when you first saw it.
Yeah.
And so, like, what were your initial impressions of it back then versus like, how do you feel about it now and sort of where it's going from here with the next generation that's, 7, 8, 10 right now?
True. Yeah. Well, I think it's just like by my age and stuff, just like growing up, like when first going to Loop Kicks camp, because that was my first camp that I went to. I was just trying to take in as much knowledge as possible, because like I'm seeing people do these tricks and I'm like, these are like the coolest things I've ever seen, but like I don't know how to do it. I don't know. And I was, for the first like really long time, I was really nervous about kind of like trying to do that and stuff. But like as I grow up and kind of seeing how gatherings have changed, I've been so fortunate to be able to travel and to see a lot of gatherings. I just see it's just getting bigger and bigger, and like gathering form. Can you ask the question again?
Yeah, so, sorry. Well, there was like 6 different questions I asked.
Sorry.
So you were probably trying to hold all of them.
I was trying to get it all together in one.
Yeah. So let's just focus on like where have you seen tricking like come from to where it is now? Like what were your initial impressions versus like what's it at now? And then we'll ask some of the other questions in a bit.
Well, no, I still think tricking in my eyes, like just being a kid has never changed, just because you should look at that just in tricking. You should always just be amazed at what you do, and always like, even still to this day, I'm still amazed by the things that people can do. So like even just by my age, I'm still so excited to just see people do new tricks, and always trying to learn as much as I can from people, and just trying to like take in as much knowledge as possible from different people that you like and different people that you look up to. So I think that
there's a lot that hasn't changed.
Yeah, I mean, not so much that hasn't changed. It's just like it's getting bigger. Obviously, it's getting a lot more recognition just on social media. The gatherings have been getting bigger. The battles are getting more intense and stuff. But I do miss the old school tricking battles. I feel like that kind of edginess and that old school battles that when I kind of watched as a kid, I think are kind of lacking. But I don't know. I think I missed that type of it, but I think
like in the call out battles where there's like a little bit of a feud between them,
kind of, but like it was like intense, or... like like one of my favorite people I used to watch battling was like Hans and stuff. One of my favorite battles was one of the battles at Loop Kicks camp, and just like it's just so intense, like just kind of that battle aspect. Everyone is just like going crazy in the background, and people are ripping off their clothes and stuff and doing tricking stuff, and I think that's just like so funny. And I don't know, I think it's
I know exactly
not so much
you're talking about. I've heard stories.
Yeah, not so much to be like a downer on tricking, but I think it's lost a lot of its like fun aspect to it. And I think we need to go back into more just having fun and tricking together, and maybe not so much the battle aspects, but the battle aspects are good. But if we're really trying to figure out like the best tricker, I think it's hard to do it in battles, because just tricking is so hard to make it a 2-minute battle against each other, because tricking is just like there's so much more that goes to it, and people can have so many different things that make them just who they are in tricking, and I don't think that battles really prove who is really like better, right? And I think
it's more of just like a matchup in that moment of it doesn't necessarily
more so much entertainment, I think, but
yeah, and that's why most of the Torque gatherings don't really have a heavy battle presence. Like every now and then we'll do like some battles for prizes just for the sake of fun.
For sure.
But yeah, there's definitely a lot of people out there that they have no interest in battling. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, there are other people who that's what's fun to them is, you know, comparing themselves to others because they have that competitive nature.
For sure.
And I think it's important for both aspects to, you know, be represented throughout the community. Yeah. And luckily we have, you know, people like Battle of Fury that do a fantastic job of putting on events like that. And, you know, where you can go and battle and, you know, fight for prizes. And then there's other gatherings where it's a little bit more of just a hangout and just a fun time. And what was really cool for me is seeing just all of the different gatherings on the tour over the last couple of years, how each of them sort of have their own personalities. And like I kept hearing from different people like that TSG was like just a really chill gathering and very like hang out and talk and just get to know each other type of thing. And Euphoria was much more like train and like work on your tricks and like share tips with people. Neo was more of the like, hey, you came to throw down, like do your best tricks, go as hard as you possibly can. You know, Battle of Furies for, you know, doing that. Loop kicks is loop kicks. And then Triceratops just was something else. That was
I really want to go to one of those. It was tricking on the South Flats look amazing.
So much fun. It was such a great gathering. Shout out to Team Triceratops for putting on an awesome Triassic gathering this year.
For sure.
Definitely, if you missed it last year, be there.
I'm trying to go to the next one.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are trying to go to the next one after this past one. But so you've been to a lot of gatherings over the years, and you said you've noticed that they've sort of shifted and changed. What can you sort of identify that has shifted or changed about the gatherings over the years?
Interesting. I don't know. Just the tricks are getting bigger. Like each session, just the level of tricks just can consistently go up. It's not like it's ever kind of going down and no one's really progressing. Like I feel like every single time there's a gathering thrown, there's a new trick that's been landed that's never been seen before. So I think that gatherings are never going to lose that. But I don't know. It's different because I think in terms of gathering, we need all those gatherings to have those different personalities because there isn't just going to be one gathering that's going to make everyone happy.
Right.
And I think that just having that variety of like what place you want to go to, what kind of people you want to hang out with in that area or who you see that's getting flown out. So I think that like in that terms that that it needs that variety. But I don't know. It's tricking is weird. It's hard to kind of see what is different or like what we can change, what is working and what isn't, because we're still like such in an early stage of this movement that we don't really know its true potential. So
I definitely agree with that.
So it's like it's interesting to see certain things that we see that are being pushed that aren't really working, that are getting a lot of negative stuff, and maybe some things that are working that are getting a lot of support. So it's like it's hard because it's so new for everyone still that we don't know what really actually does work. And I think that so far kind of the variety of gathering has really changed and kind of being more professional, kind of reaching out to more kids and bringing in more people to spread the kind of the knowledge of tricking, just making it more available for everyone. Because like back in the day, there was only Loop Kick,
of a secret club.
Yeah, it was only like Loop Kicks gathering was the one that invited everyone, but really gatherings were just people that were in your hometown or lived like a couple hours away that were willing to pay for gas to go to that gathering. So like just now having it more on like social media, more being able to like communicate to people faster, right? Being able to just see people's tricking faster. Like of course, Bylang back in the day, and what was the other one? It was Bylang, and then
I don't know.
Tricks Tutorial. And
the forums.
Yeah, the forums and
stuff. I thought
stuff.
you were thinking of something else.
Sorry, yeah.
But
just like
2 or 3 iterations.
Yeah, there's like a lot of them. Yeah, I wasn't into tricking. That was like a little before me, but I kind of missed that. Like right when I got into it, I think I just sort of missed it. But I think that just makes it so much easier because like you see people whose tricks that you really like, and you're like, I really want to go trick with that person. I really want to meet him because you really like that personality and stuff. Like I remember first tricking and seeing Phil and Scotty's personality for the first time, and like as a kid, you're like, these guys are awesome. Like I want to hang out with them and meet them. So
right,
like,
and especially watching their samplers and like the old samplers that used to get put out. Especially, everyone knows the Australians killed the game when it came to the like.
Just having fun. You could see that they're having fun. Yeah.
Within their videos.
Exactly.
You know, every time you watched a Phil or a Scott or even a John McClay sampler, you know, all of them really had this very thick layer of just B-roll and fun and shenanigans.
And that's what tricking is about.
Exactly.
I think. And you just see the love, like you see the connection with people that you can make through the sport. And like it's just so hard to match that with. You can do that with other sports, but tricking is just so much different, and it takes like we're in a way we're all kind of crazy, and like being able to do these tricks, we have to be kind of crazy to do it, and like you can kind of connect to people on that level, and I think that's really awesome. And yeah, Scott and Phil do like a really good job of showing that connection you can make with people, and I think that's what people can really connect to and stuff.
Yeah. So I think it sounds like what we're talking about that's changed over the years is just the evolution of tricking and you know, as a sport. And so it's sort of us like having that nostalgia and like wanting to hold on to that old idea of what it used to be. But we're starting to see, you know, a little bit more of, you know, people like us, you know, Torque, and you know, different brands that are trying to really push things forward, coming in and stepping up and saying, hey, we're doing this every year and consistently, whereas before it was, you know, like Rudy had several gatherings that he would just like call up basically like NTBS and like a few other people that were in the surrounding areas and be like, hey guys, my gym is closed this weekend, and they said that we can have the key and like get 3-hour sessions each day. Come hang out and sleep in my house, and then we'll do that, and we'll go to the gym, and it'll just be a fun time. It was like 15 or 20 people maximum. And so that was how it used to be, and now it's much more like, okay, everyone on Facebook, here is, please. You know, this event that's happening, and, you know, you can pre-register, and it's just like this whole formal layer on top of it, which is, it's necessary for the organization for it to grow, for us to be able to, you know, have 50 to 100 people come to the same place and make sure that they're all taken care of. But I definitely, you know, agree that you sort of lose some of that nostalgia, which is something that we try and recapture within our Torque gatherings, is, you know, trying to create the environment that opens the door for those connections that you have. So like we've shifted away from providing housing, like illicitly, or explicitly rather. And we try and just accommodate everyone throughout the community, so that way people can get to know who they're staying with. And, you know, it forces everyone to sort of converge on one or two houses, and then everyone gets to hang out together in a different setting than the gym, you know? And I think it's that was always my favorite part of other gatherings, was like those small little groups that you would sort of break into, where you really got to know somebody and like develop that friendship. And then you'd go back to the gathering and sort of separate from that person, but then you'd see him a few months later at a different event, and you'd be like, oh shit,
what's up, dude?
I haven't seen you in forever. I forgot your name, but I remember we hung out. And then you get their name again. And
for sure,
it's just how tricking goes.
No, it's just like the best part. And like, even when you're talking about like, even like the size, it's really not. Sometimes like in gathering, it's just not so much about the tricks that are thrown, but like the people who are there, and just having the good group of people that just bring a certain personality to the gathering that you can't really match with like your tricking and stuff. Like sometimes you just need just that person or these guests that will bring Yeah,
Usually
that guy's crazy. But even like G-Space or something, for example, right? He brings so much personality to each gathering, and like it's just those certain types of people that add so much to the community and stuff.
Definitely. Well, and I mean that's that's specifically what we as brand owners and event organizers look for when we're looking at who to bring out. It's pretty much like 5% tricks, especially now versus, a couple of years ago, tricks were a lot more relevant in how people were getting flown around. But now everyone is so close to the same level of like, the new baseline is like dubs.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's, so it's like, okay, well, you can dub, so can 217 other people or whatever the number is now.
I think it's like probably over 300 at this point, which is crazy.
But, yeah, that's insane. Yeah. And what's also insane is if you actually like think about how many that is, you're such a small fraction of a percent of the population.
It's crazy
of people that are alive right now.
0.0000.
Yeah,
whatever.
It's ridiculously small. And even just like a huge estimate, I think it was like if you estimated like 400,000 people can do a backflip or something like that, that's still like 0.0005% of the population.
It's
and that's crazy. Just a backflip, and like that's 400,000 people. We probably don't come even anywhere close to that with some of the just taking tricking, let alone some of those like triple cork.
Once you get into those types of tricks.
And yet that is sort of the baseline. Right? But so it's much more about the personality and, what you bring to the environment, and like that was the reason that Bailey got to go everywhere, is because he brings so much to an event when he shows up, because he just has this energy and he's just willing to talk to everyone, super friendly, and like it's those type of things that stand out more so than his ability to do these tricks.
For sure.
And the same with a lot of the other people that get selected. It's like, no, we want to hang out with that person. Like not just because they're, our friend, but like they add value to the event and for the other people who are coming to the event.
For sure.
And like that's why people like, like Brendan Morrison or like Kyle Skelly, and like
Scotty Skelton,
they all just these different guys like you, and like you guys get brought to all these different places because when you're there, you bring something that only you can bring to the event. And that's definitely something that is exciting to see that all of the brand owners are, really on the same page about that and making sure that,
just about trying to run a good gathering and stuff, making it good.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to make everyone have a good experience and stuff. Yeah.
So we'll ask one more question, and then wrap this up because I think we've been going for a little while now. So this is a fun question that we've been asking a lot of people. If everyone had the same skill level in tricking, so like let's say it's your current level now, apply that to every single other person.
Okay.
What would make you stand out as a tricker? What about your tricks or, just whatever you think it is, what would make you stand out?
So everyone has the same tricks as me, but
not the same tricks. They just have the same level as you. So like if you can do a double cork, they can do a double cork.
So what about style though?
That might be the thing that sets you apart.
So, okay. That's a difficult question to ask because like
that's why it's fun.
So if everyone was on the same level in terms of
technical,
like
just
in
like,
terms of
you can
like
check
on
this
paper, a certain combo, like certain kicking combo or stuff. Like if
doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to put tricks together the same way that you are.
Okay.
It just means that like everything you can do, they can do the same. Not identical, but just they can also.
Okay. I don't know. In terms of like trying to make it different, I just try and not try and copy anyone. I just trying to do what I think is cool and what I think is fun. And so I think that goes through in my tricking because I like to just mix it up on going on my right side, then switching it to my left side or vice versa. And I like to just try and keep it just different. I like to just do things that I know when I watch it, I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool, because I think I have a pretty good eye on tricking, just because I've just seen so many tricking combos, and I've been around the block to where just I know when I see certain different styles that stand out, and like I don't even need to watch them trick for more than one pass when I already know like this guy has something special. So I think just in terms of my tricking, I just try and be different, and I try to mix combos that don't necessarily go together or go really awkward together that no one wants to try, or like, I don't know. I try not to be at anyone's level, and I try not to match anyone. I just trick to have fun, and I try and just do what I think is cool. And I think on terms of tricking maybe, but on like the outside of tricking, I see a very big potential in tricking, and I see not so much the tricking side of it, but I see just where it could go in the future. And I think I have a pretty good vision on like what I want to do in it, just because I love it so much, and I know that I can't do it forever, but I just want to be involved in the community, right? And I can do it in my way. I can do it in what I see is fun in tricking and what people can relate to, just because in terms of tricking, it's hard to relate it if you don't know anything about it. And I want to do like a good job of just trying to spread it. And I think in terms of not so much my tricking, just on the outside, I think I have a lot to provide.
Definitely.
To a lot of people.
Definitely. I think that was a great answer. And that's why I love that question, is because it is a really difficult question.
Yeah.
And it makes people search really far to the edges.
Yeah.
And
it's a good question.
Like, what actually sets me apart? And I think you definitely got it. Is, you know, what you're doing with King of the Floor, I think is phenomenal. It's one of the best things that's happened for tricking in the last couple of years. And so I said that was the last question, but that your statement opened up.
Keep going.
Another question.
I got you.
So where do you see King of the Floor going from here? You know, like, do you have any huge plans for it? Like, what's the next step?
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be as big as we want to take it. And I see the potential where we could make it go on TV. We could spread it into different countries. We could actually make this a real big event where it can truly crown like a true like winner in tricking, right? So we're taking away kind of the judging aspect of battles, right?
The moves themselves.
Exactly, right. And we're putting it down more technical, and we're putting it on the sheet paper worth points. And it's basically, in the end, if whoever gets the most points is the best tricker and who did the most during that time. So I think just moving on, just making it bigger, I think it has the potential to really show really determine some top level tricking. But at the same time, you're having fun. You're hanging out with your friends. It's a game. It's so much different than a battle, because there's no lead up into it. You're not just judged on just your 2 minutes. You have 3 days, and if you don't want to trick one day, you don't have to trick that one day, and you can go out and just have fun and do maybe some things that makes you feel uncomfortable. So
some different challenges
exactly
that are just sort of pushing the boundary of what it means to be.
And I think we could spread it to a lot of gatherings. It doesn't have to so much be going out and doing the ratchet stuff and doing that. It has the potential just to be, we could put down a list of tricks, because I know just being a tricker, it's hard to, your trick for livery, like, oh, I ran out of combos, I don't know what to do, and you're asking people for combos. But kind of having a list and kind of having an order, and we can kind of give people inspiration on things that they could try and stuff. And I think that would be cool, kind of spreading that. Yeah, hopefully we could get that on TV. We're in talks with some people. We have a lot of connections, and I think it would be good. It would spread a lot of knowledge about tricking and a little more awareness, because we can connect to people. We're trying to connect to people on more of like, not so much a jackass level, but that on terms of people going out and doing ratchet stuff. But if you really look into jackass people, like they're all very talented stunt work people, And in order to do those challenges takes a lot of skill.
Yeah, it's more just like the CKY crew. And
yeah, exactly.
And like that like, hey, this is what skateboarding
exactly,
is.
And that's where Bam got famous, was because
exactly.
he went out and started doing these ratchet things, and people really can kind of connect to that level because you can see people feeling uncomfortable, and you see it like, oh, I would never do that, but you see this and you're like, oh, I wish I could do that stuff. And we're trying to connect to people on that level because tricking is so hard to even comprehend, because it's hard for me to comprehend it because there's tricks all the time that have been landing and it's so hard to keep up to it. But if you kind of can like connect to people on a level of where you can like just like they want to do it, right? And it's hard to see someone doing triple cork and being like, okay, I can do that. But if you see someone...
But these kids, man, when you see an 11-year-old doing triple cork and you're an 11-year-old, you're like, okay, I could probably do that.
Yeah.
And that's what's really exciting, is to see where these kids
take
it.
Yeah, and that on that level too, but just like someone who just doesn't know anything about tricking. Like if they see someone do triple cork, they're not going to truly appreciate what a triple cork is. But they can relate to it and maybe start learning kind of what it is if they learn it at a lesser level. Mm-hmm. We can't just throw them in right at the craziest stuff. But if we give them something funny, they're laughing at it, they see that there's talent, they see that it's hard, they see that they're having fun and enjoying it. And I think we can really spread that in that sense. Like just having fun. And I think that's just the whole point that we're trying to get out of this. Just having fun and enjoying it, but also at the competition at the same time. So
definitely. Well, I think they go hand in hand just to make it a game.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So where would people get in contact with you if they wanted to on social media? And also, where would we find info on King of the Floor to watch, last year's, this year's, and just pay attention for the future?
Yeah. So we actually just finished up a website, so I'll be releasing a website soon. So I'll
throw it in the description.
Yeah, I'll release that out. But follow us on Instagram. We're Bay Area Hustle Team. We have a Facebook page. It's King of the Floor. We'll be releasing more of like the teasers and stuff. But we have a YouTube page. We're going to be releasing the new episodes pretty soon. And then we have all last seasons on YouTube. So if you guys want to check that out, it's up there. But once we put out the website, we'll have all the links and stuff and everything that you can get. We'll be releasing some merchandise and clothing too, so you can find all that stuff. And then we'll have just some more samplers and stuff on there. We're in the works with creating more SoundCloud stuff, so be on the lookout for more mixtapes. We got Spotify playlists, so there's a lot of places that you can find us. We'll put them all in the links.
And then what about you personally?
Well, my Instagram is... at Keenan.Carr. So if you guys want to follow me, post tricking clips, like not too much. I try and post as much as I can, but yeah, you guys should follow me on there.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I had a good time. If you enjoyed that, hit like and subscribe down below, and give us a share. We will see you next time.
Yeah.